Rugby World Cup 2023, folks. Pool D back underway this weekend. Argentina, Samoa. We're going to go through some squad stats, recent history predictions, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how things may be going to go. To say Argentina were underwhelming against England would be the understatement of the century. They were just awful. They showed no attack threat at all, despite the fact that they had an extra man for over an hour. I mean, they had a yellow card of their own, but England had a man red carded in the first 10 minutes. So unbelievable that Argentina just were as bad as they were. But they get a chance to rectify things against Samoa. Samoa are coming on the back of a pretty solid win over Chile. Their forwards really fronted up and ended up putting the Chilean guys to the sword. So they'll be looking to get a win here because they know getting a win gets them a heck of a lot closer to a quarterfinal. Obviously, with Japan and England in this pool as well. It's still kind of anybody's game, but yeah, we'll go through them. You guys can let us know your thoughts. The recent history between the sides is not really recent at all. It's been almost 20 years since these teams have played. Last game was 2005, which is unbelievable. 28-12. It was an away win for the Samoan guys in Argentina. The only win the Argentinians have had over Samoa was back in 1999, also at a World Cup. They also met in 95 and 91. Both were wins to what was then Western Samoa. So, yeah, they don't meet each other that often. So there's a little bit of a kind of new freshness about this just because these are sides which we don't get to see in action against each other very often at all. For Argentina, they have kept things pretty stable. Michael Check has resisted the urge to kind of make wholesale changes. However, he has brought a bit of experience in on the bench, which I think, if things are going haywire, they may end up calling upon sooner rather than later. Gajo, Montoya, and Bello, that's your front row, so there's only one change there. Bello starts ahead of Cordella, which is a surprising one because Cordella tends to be the guy that keeps things locked down at scrum time, but I guess they wanted to see something a bit different. Gajo is certainly one of the better attacking threats in the game, which is a strange one to say for your loose head prop, but he's legit a bit of a handful. And Montoya, the captain, always a threat at the breakdown, was Argentina's top tackler alongside Kremer. The last game he made 10 from 10 did Montoya. So yeah, they will need to front up because we saw what the Samoan pack did to the Chileans. Different story here against Argentina, obviously. Petti comes into the second row, so Alemanno kind of takes over that tight headlock role in place of Lavanini, who was out injured. And Petti, the skills man, comes in to get a start. He's had bugger all rugby because he's been injured for, must be like a year. Yeah, he's had a couple of bench appearances recent times, but he's not had a lot of rugby. He is a classy operator, but still lacks game time. Matera, Kremer, and Gonzalez, that is the same back row as last week. I mean, Kremer, like I mentioned, he was 10 from 11 on his tackles, which is solid. Juan Gonzalez was quiet by his own standards, and then Matera, with his 44 metres and 5 defenders beaten, was the biggest attacking threat of that Argentine poor effort against England. So he is one guy that still at least stood out a little bit. Bertranou and Carreras, that is the same 9-10 combo as played in that game against England. And yeah, we want to see more from Carreras in terms of direction from the team. Chocobares and Moroni is 12-13. So Moroni is up from the bench to start ahead of Sinti, who drops to the bench. The same wingers with Boffelli and Mateo Carreras. And then Mallia is still there at fullback. Like Mallia had 23 metres. Boffelli had 34, and Carreras, that's Mateo, had 20. For the back three of Argentina, that's poor. Really poor. Like a fullback that only had 20 metres is almost unheard of. So, yeah, those guys are all really exciting players. So I think we would like to see a little bit more out of them. Krevi, Vivas, and Cordella, that is the front row replacements. So Vivas comes into the 23. Rubiolo and Bruni are your two forward replacements. Remember, Bruni came off the bench and added a bit of go forward by getting a try at the end. And then three backs in Kubeli, Sanchez, and Sinti. So Kubeli and Sanchez are your two veterans. So if the game is lacking direction from the Argentinian starters, I expect Kubeli and Sanchez to come on and try to change that picture. For Samoa, remember, they're only ranked one spot on the world rankings behind Argentina. Argentina are 10, Samoa is 11. They have made a few changes, and they've got one debutant here at the World Cup, which is always an interesting one. James Lay, Celala Lam, and Paul Alo-Emile are your front row. So Alo-Emile starts ahead of Alatoa, who drops to the bench for this one. Alo-Nisi and Vui are your second row, so Vui takes the captaincy. for this one with Alo-Emile being on the bench. McFarland therefore switches to 6, and he was incredible in that game against Chile. Try assist, top tackle with 14 from 14. His try assist was a thing of beauty, man. So good to see him in the back row where maybe he's going to find himself even a bit more space. Fritz Lee and Steve Luatua are 7 and 8. Tom Matera scored a heck of that try, from the McFarland offload. So he continues on at 9. Leali'ifano is at 10. I'm really pleased for Leali'ifano going ahead at 10 as well. Sopoaga is not even in the side this week. I don't know. I feel like the fact that he's with Moana Pacifica, he's probably got more of a connection with the squad in terms of the chemistry and cohesion from Moana Pacifica, but also just with more time with Samoa. Like Sopoaga came into the show so late in the piece, I would have felt bad for Leali'ifano to kind of drop below him in the pecking order. But it seems like Leali'ifano is the preferred guy. So I'm pleased for him. He's paid his dues and has been playing well, which is the most important thing. If you're playing poorly, then by all means bring in Sopoaga. But Leali'ifano has been playing well. Manu and Sautini are your same midfield as last week. Ah-Wong switches to the right wing because Ben Lamb, former Hurricanes flyer, a guy who All Blacks fans would have loved to see donning the black jersey that one season where he was just running riot for the Canes, is on the left wing, and then Duncan Paia'aua is there at 15, so that kind of second playmaker. He had 86 meters and 6 defenders beaten last week. That's more what you expect. I know they only played Chile compared to Argentina playing England, but those are more like fullback numbers. Fullbacks tend to get 50, 60, 70 meters in a game because there's so much space at the back. But, yeah, there you go. He was pretty impressive. Malolo is there on the bench. Remember, he scored 2 tries from the bench last week as the forwards got dominance. Faumuina comes into the side as the prop replacement alongside Alatau drops to the bench. Tilani Sio drops to the bench. Taufua is there on the bench, and 3 backs with Matavao, Liuia, and Toala. So there's no Sopoaga, there's no Fido, there's no Inari. So, yeah, they have made a few changes in that back line on the bench for Samoa. It is on a Stade Etienne. It is a 5:45 local kickoff, so kind of an early evening game over there in France, which means it's 3:45 for me here in NZ Saturday morning. I'll probably get up and watch this one live because I feel like my throat is now on the mend. Hopefully you guys can understand me a bit better compared to the last couple of days. And also, it's just such a massive game. This would be an absolute statement of intent if Samoa could knock over what was a poor Argentinian side. And for Argentina, it's a great chance for them to bounce back, man, because you don't get a second chance, really. I mean, this is the second chance. You don't get a third chance at the World Cup. It's pretty much do or die stuff. Their knockout stage of the competition essentially starts for them now. So I think we know from the team on paper, there's a lot more in the side than what we saw in their last game against England, but they need to show it to us. And I mentioned in the England preview as well, they haven't shown us what this Argentinian attack can do really that much under Checa. They've been working on the fundamentals, but they need to take it up another gear, and it needs to be now, basically. But, yeah, Nick Berry is the ref. Predictions-wise, Argentina by 14, according to the bookies, and the algorithm is a little bit less convinced. The algorithm says Argentina by 8. You guys let us know your thoughts. Subscribe to the channel, and, yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.